Hey guys, in today's video I'll show you how to produce Hold On by Justin Bieber. So I really enjoyed this production by Andrew Watt and Louis Bell, who have produced many of today's hit songs for artists like Dua Lipa, Miley Cyrus, 5 Seconds of Summer, Post Malone and countless others. And they absolutely are two of my greatest role models in terms of today's pop music production. But before we zoom in on the song's production, let's listen to a preview of my reconstruction. So this song doesn't consist of an insane number of instruments and sounds, but rather builds upon the concept of minimalism. And that means that it contains only few elements and instruments that are all used and processed in a way that still creates a very warm, rich and full sounding production. So let's start with one of the most prominent sounds in the song, the chorus guitar. And I call this chorus guitar not because it's played in the chorus, but because of its retro sounding chorus effect. To recreate this sound, I used the finger-picked electric guitar by Native Instruments with the following settings. Now this guitar plays the following melody. And I know this sounds nothing like the guitar used in the original yet, but the magic can be found in the processing. I use Guitar Rig to create a chorus effect, followed by another chorus plugin. An EQ to clean up the sound, a reverb, a quarter note delay, and 2 filters, one serving as a low-pass filter and the other as an additional high-pass filter. Now this guitar sounds quite thin on its own, which is why I layered it with a plectrum plate electric guitar that plays the bass notes and at some points their perfect fifths. Next I used 2 pads in the verse and the pre-chorus, playing the following chords. It's a matrix pad from the Retro Machines library and a synth pad from the Free Labs series. I barely processed these and only used an OTT on both to make them sound brighter and less dark. Moving on to the basses, there is a Silent One Reese bass in the pre-chorus that creates a lot of tension because of the way its filters have been automated. It opens up to slowly but surely reach a more aggressive and present sound. The only thing I put on its mixer track is a mid-side EQ, and that ensures that all information below 150 Hz is in mono. The other bass is a bass guitar, specifically the Retro 60s made in Trillion, which Charlie Puth used in Attention, and that sounds something like this. This bass simply follows the chords bass notes in the verse and in the pre, and then plays the following melody in the chorus. To get this bass to sound larger and more present, I added the following effects. An R bass by Waves for a richer and deeper low end, a radiator for some magical analog warmth, a decapitator for saturation, the glue for some slight compression, an OTT for more presence, and a mid-side EQ. I also use multiband sidechain compression to create a ducking effect only applied to a certain range within the frequency spectrum of the bass, which is ideal for kick-bass relationships if you don't want the entire bass spectrum to duck whenever the kick hits. Let's now cast some light on the drums. We have this kick with an R bass for a deeper low end, a DS10 for some extra tightness and punch, and an EQ to reduce everything above 1000 Hz. Then we have 2 snares, both of which I EQ'd similarly. I increased the low mids and reduced the high end. I also linked both of them to a snare bus for some additional processing, using a compressor to glue the snares together and an analog EQ for some extra body and less harshness. On top of the kick and the snares, there are 3 layers of hi-hats playing the following rhythm. I decreased the head sustain using a DS10, made them sound wider using a stereo enhancer, and removed all information below 1200 Hz. And another cymbal I used is this reversed one from the Cashmere pack, serving as a transition effect at the end of the pre and at the end of the chorus. In the second half of the chorus, we add an acoustic kick and snare to add some extra low end and to make the overall drum sound larger. I heavily boosted this kick's low end using an EQ and R bass, whereas the snare only undergoes a high pass filter. To make all the drums sound bigger, punchier and better cut through the mix, I linked all drum sounds to a drum bus where I inserted Infected Mushroom Pusher by Waves, and this really enhances the drum's high end, low end, dynamics and stereo image in an incredibly powerful way. This is without the plugin. And this is what the drums sound like when I turn it on. Let's now listen to the final result, and as always, you can download the free FLP in the description below. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you received any takeaways from it, be sure to hit that subscribe button for more content like this in the future. Take care and see you next time.